Hey Vault Dwellers, JV here, and today I'm sharing the Update 1.0 patch notes for Fallout 76. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for more Fallout 76 videos just like this. Before we jump in, another heads up on the final beta schedule for Fallout 76 before launch. There will be a 2-hour beta today starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, then the final time is on Thursday, November 8th from 2 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be streaming both of these over on my Facebook page, fb.gg/jv2017 gameplay. If you'd like to come hang out, link is in the description below. Onto the video. This is the latest patch for Fallout 76, officially Update 1.0. This has been pushed across all platforms, meaning you will need to download it before you can play the next beta. It's including the one today, so I hope you guys started that. As always, I've linked the patch notes in the description below for your reference. Bethesda says that this patch is focused on performance and stability, enemy balancing, and bug fixes, but notably, there's no current change to the stash limit in this update. Pete Hines also confirmed the stash limit on Twitter this morning. He said there is a stash limit. I wasn't aware of one before the beta. There are reasons why it's there, and those reasons are important. The team is looking into what it might be able to do. If it happens, it will not happen in this patch. So there it is. The stash will not be unlimited on launch. Let's stop spreading that misinformation. Regardless of what was said before, this was tweeted this morning. We should be taking this as fact instead of something that was tweeted over a month ago before the beta even started. So I fully expect there to be a 400 stash limit as of now and for launch unless they come out and update us before November 14th. Starting in the general section, stability for the game has significantly improved. I hope that is the case on launch because I think the game still needs to run a little better. Several issues have been addressed to resolve hitches during gameplay and other performance issues. Again, I hope FPS is addressed for the game before launch. Many mid and high level enemies received balancing, and here are some notable changes. For the Scorched, the health and damage resistance has been increased for mid and high level Scorched. Health and damage resistance for mid and high level super mutants has been slightly decreased, and then the melee damage across many high and mid level enemies, particularly Mirelurks and Mirelurk Hunters, has been increased. So we'll need to keep our distance with melee across many enemies, but super mutants getting a nerf, I think that was a little bit needed. They were a bit strong, and then Scorched, you'll need to watch out for those mid and high level enemies. For crafting, the requirements to make throwing knives and tomahawks have been increased, and then you can no longer sell these to vendors. If you guys weren't aware, there was a bit of maybe a loophole, an exploit, I don't know what you would call it, where you could make throwing knives for very cheap, like 3 steel, and then turn around and sell them very cheaply. So that would both net you a ton of XP really quickly and also give you a ton of caps, being able to sell them. Although there's probably a limit on that because vendors do have sort of a cap stash limit. Regardless, that has been addressed and you can no longer do either of those things. For events, the time required to restart a previously completed event quest has been increased from 45 minutes to 1 hour and 12 minutes. 1 hour and 12 minutes, 72 minutes. That's a very weird number. We know that events are very strong, particularly the rewards and the random roll chance to get a nice plan or a nice piece of armor or a nice weapon. So this is probably just a balancing thing to ensure that we're not only doing events. On to bug fixes. There are several important ones in here. Notably, the T-pose apparently has been fixed. It was an issue that was causing enemies to stop playing animations and enter the T-pose. That's been addressed. Hopefully that has been addressed because that's a little spooky. There was an issue causing artifacting to display on characters' hands and weapons while in the White Spring Resort and playing in first person. That should no longer happen. On Xbox, there's an issue causing the game world to appear darker than intended. Yes, I was wondering, why is my world so dark? Fortunately, that has been addressed. There was an issue where water was flickering and flashing inside buildings. I noticed that for sure, so hopefully that's fixed. On PS4, item previews would exhibit visual issues when you're attempting to modify weapons. I was still running into this stuff on Xbox. That says it's for PS4, so hopefully that's, something they're going to fix for Xbox as well. And then we've got powered objects placed at workshops will now correctly display their animations and sound effects. I noticed this as well. There were several issues with audio bugs. First off, with Xbox Live and whether someone was a friend or not would affect your voice chat in-game. Then also playing with a team would cause an issue where voice chat would stop functioning for people that were not the leader of the team. Those will no longer happen. Successfully defending a workshop would give you more aid items than intended. I definitely noticed this. I would get a ton of stim packs and diluted Rad-X and so on and so forth. Now that's been reduced, unfortunately, so you're not able to take advantage of that. For quest bugs, there was one for what I assume to be the last quest in the game. That's not a spoiler. Bethesda's come out and said that you're going to launch a nuke in the main story. So now that will complete for all teammates. And then finally, completing the First Contact and Thirst Things First quest no longer give you more aid items than they were supposed to. That's been fixed. The final round of fixes is for the UI, particularly with different languages. Improvements have been made to better support Japanese, Russian, simplified Chinese, and traditional Chinese text display. You can now also name blueprints in those languages with those characters. If you set the game's language options to traditional or simplified Chinese, they will now launch in those languages instead of English. There was an unspecified login issue that would prevent people from logging in on PC. That's been addressed. Adjusting the Windows display scaling would cause the game to launch in lower or higher resolutions. That's not going to happen anymore. Map markers no longer disappear when you're attempting to respawn after dying while over-encumbered or possessing no caps. Very specific issue that shouldn't happen again. When you want to change the lighting quality to high, that will work correctly. At the main menu, you could see a failed to reconnect to team error message. That will no longer happen. Also, if you add someone as a friend, you will see them in the social menu. There is a bug preventing that. And then finally, if you are entering Power Armor and you want to trade with someone, that would cause the game client to become unresponsive. That has been addressed. So that is a wrap on the 1.0 patch. 1.0 usually implies that, this is the launch patch. That's what we're going to go with when the game comes out on November 14th. But I would expect another round of changes, another patch to roll out officially before November 14th, maybe like the day before or something. Hopefully Bethesda will give us some time, especially you guys with slower internet speeds should be able to download it before it comes out. If or when that happens, I of course will let you guys know with a video here on the page. I want to cover these updates extensively throughout the life cycle of Fallout 76, so you can expect me to continue these videos past launch. Just some general thoughts. It looks like Bethesda is addressing some specific issues. These patches seem to be kind of similar to Fallout 4's patches, but again, since we are doing a live service game here, I think they need to be fairly frequent. I mean, maybe weekly if they can manage to do that. So I would love to see Bethesda improve their patch notes for the future, particularly with things like we did some enemies balancing, here's the highlights. I want to know all of what they changed. I don't want to know that there were some changes and we don't know about them. I think it would really benefit this community to know everything that's being changed. And of course, I'd also like to see what Bethesda is working on. What is an issue that they know about and what are they trying to fix in the future? What are they working towards? While Destiny is a bit of a dumpster fire and a 4-letter word in this community, Bungie does a solid job on this, on keeping the community updated. Bethesda would do well to follow in their footsteps with patch notes and community updates that really dive into specifics, let us know what's coming down the line, what's being worked on, what they know about, what they're aware about, so on and so forth. My main concern for this game on launch is how well it runs on consoles. I still don't think it runs well enough on Xbox One. That's the primary console I'm playing on. That's what I play with friends on. And it's just not up to the standard that I want for an open world game them to be dumping a ton of time into. So I hope that is sincerely addressed before the game comes out. In the comment section, tell me which changes and bugs you feel need to be addressed in future patches. Share your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe and hit the bell for more Fallout 76 content like my last video where we discussed this stash problem. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.